Because I've never let that happen.
I would never let that happen. What is she talking about? This woman refuses to let men think that she is better than she actually is. She will not be placed on a pedestal and let some man project a fantasy onto her instead of seeing her true personality. I think this girl is awesome. I'm going to spend this video reacting to her because even though she's just talking off the top of her head spontaneously, she hits on some raw truths and I think they're important for men to hear. First of all, what does it mean to pedestalize a woman? I'll let her explain it.
Have you ever heard the phrase, putting a woman on a pedestal before?
Yes, I have. Like, not seeing her for, like, who she is, but instead, like, idolizing her and not, like, thinking of her just as, like, a normal person.
Exactly. Okay, you got it perfect.
Yeah.
You, watching this right now, you probably have in your mind an idea of the perfect girlfriend. How she looks, how she acts, how she treats you, like the perfect fantasy girl that you could date. Now, it's okay to have standards, something to shoot for. That's a good thing. Where this becomes a problem is when you project that fantasy onto a girl when it doesn't match the reality of who she truly is. But why would any man do that? Who would choose to delude themselves with a fantasy instead of acknowledging the reality of the girl in front of him? Well, this is what she says.
Why do you think some men pedestalize women?
I think they do that because they feel like they have some control over them. They just don't see him really as a person.
The control that she's talking about has to do with a feeling of safety. When you're dealing with a real person, you have to deal with the fact that she is a separate person from you. She's her own individual. They have their own thoughts and opinions. They're not just some perfect extension of you that always does exactly what you want. Now, that lack of control to some men is really frightening, especially if they've been abused in their past. Like, if you've been traumatized in the past by horrible circumstances, you might conclude it's because you didn't have control of the situation. And so in your future relationships, you try and maintain a strict feeling of control so that you never have to go back to that traumatic place ever again. I mean, it's understandable why people do this. It's a coping mechanism, but it's a total disaster because it's a complete rejection of reality. When you pedestalize a woman and imagine her to be better than she truly is, what you're doing is attempting to control your life, not with real action in reality, but just by altering your mind and living out a delusional fantasy. It won't work because reality always wins. Yet despite that, men continue to try that because for some guys, the need for a feeling of psychological safety is just that dire. So control is one reason why a man might pedestalize a woman, but there are other reasons as well. Maybe they have swallowed the cultural myth that says that men are horrible and women are perfect angels. In fact, he's so invested in that myth that even when his girlfriend is acting like a normal, flawed human being, he can't see past his idealized image. Or maybe he's so desperate to date a woman who is high quality because he wants that boost to his self-esteem. He wants to think of himself as some amazing guy who can attract high quality women into relationships, that even when the woman that he's dating is average or even toxic, he would rather willingly delude himself so that he can have that self-esteem boost, even if it's based on a fantasy. But here's the thing that a lot of men do not understand about women. It's that they hate being treated better than they deserve. Let's listen to what she says.
Has a man ever put you on a pedestal? If so, what was it like?
No, I've never been treated that way because I never wanted to, I guess.
Okay. Wait, what do you mean by that?
Like, I've never been in this situation
Ah, okay.
because I've never let that happen.
She has never let that happen. It could occur. There's probably hundreds of men out there who would be desperate to date her, and they would treat her like a perfect princess. They treat her like the angel that she isn't, but she refuses to let that happen. Why? I mean, there's lots of guys out there who are thinking, the better that I treat her, the more she'll appreciate that, right? The way I can show my love for her is by having a really high opinion of her. The more amazing I think she is, the more she knows that I love her, right?
Would you rather a man see you in some kind of idealized state or as you truly are?
Definitely as I truly am. I would expect someone to like actually want to get to know me as like who I am and the things I like.
This woman is not the exception. Only really narcissistic, low-quality women actually want men to put them on a pedestal. Regular, down-to-earth girls want to be seen for who they truly are, and there are 5 reasons for this. Number 1, to be placed on a pedestal puts a lot of pressure on her. Number 2, she craves genuine connection. Number 3, she wants to trust your competence. Number 4, she needs masculine boundaries. And of course, number 5, hypergamy. Okay, let's go through them one at a time. The 5 reasons why women hate being placed on a pedestal. Number 1, being on a pedestal is a lot of pressure, and this shouldn't be surprising to anybody. If she's just a regular, flawed human being, but you're treating her like a queen, that is exhausting to her. Like, there's so much pressure for her to live up to your expectations. She has entered into a relationship because she wants it to make her life more enjoyable. She wants to be able to relax. But all this pedestalization, all this pressure and expectations, that's just really stressful for her. If you're going to love her, she wants to make sure that it's because you've seen the real her, not because you're playing out some fantasy that you've projected onto her. Which leads us to number 2. She wants a genuine connection. It's actually not that enjoyable for a woman when you're in love with a fantasy instead of the real her. When you place a woman on a pedestal and you think she's better than she actually is, you're not even interacting with the real her. You're just interacting with your own imagination. You're interacting with your own fantasy that you've created. Do you see how strange the conversations are? Like, there's no connection. You're not even seeing things in reality, and that's hardly the love that she's looking for. In order for a woman to truly feel loved, she needs to feel seen, appreciated, validated. She needs a genuine connection, and in order for you to make that connection, you have to be seeing the real her. Number 3, when you place a woman on a pedestal, it makes her doubt your competence. Women want to date men who are smart, socially savvy, and self-aware. But how is she going to trust your competence when you can't even see the reality of who she is and she's standing right in front of you? Where is your emotional self-awareness? Where's your ability to read body language and social cues? How are you going to keep her safe when you don't even know who she is? Any man who puts a woman on a pedestal fails a really important test. He's not even competent enough to be able to accurately assess the kind of person that she is, and that's hardly an impressive trait in a man. Which takes us to number 4. Women want strong masculine boundaries, and any man who pedestalizes women is not able to provide them. In a lot of ways, women are actually scared of their own femininity. All that chaos, all that emotion can be unsettling. One of the reasons why she seeks out a male partner is for that logical, grounding presence in order to keep her safe. That's what the masculine does. But if a man thinks that his girlfriend is so high above him, she's just so perfect, how is he ever going to be able to provide any masculine boundaries? If he thinks that she's perfect and that she can do no wrong, how is he going to be able to help her when she's being overwhelmed by her own feminine chaos? If she starts spiraling and panicking, how is he going to be able to step in and help her when he can't even accurately see what's truly going on? Any man who places her on a pedestal is automatically a failure, because how is she ever going to feel safe around a man who can't even see reality? Which takes us to number 5, which is, of course, hypergamy. Women only date up. When looking for a potential partner, they look for a man that they can admire, someone they can look up to. Women don't date men as a favor. It's not charity for them. Their dating choices are motivated by selfish instincts. They want the best for themselves, and that means dating a guy who's impressive. So when you're a woman and you want to date amazing, high-quality men, but you keep meeting guys who put you on a pedestal and they treat you as though you're so much better than they are, that's hardly satisfying her hypergamy. Placing her above you is the exact opposite of what she wants. You probably heard the saying, if you treat her like a celebrity, she'll treat you like a fan. That's what hypergamy is. Women only look up. And so if you're holding her above you, do you see you're invisible to her because she doesn't look down? Does it make sense now why that woman in the video that I was reacting to said that she would never be pedestalized? She refuses to let that happen. So stop treating women as though they're perfect. They're not, and they don't want to be treated that way. There's nothing noble or virtuous about pretending somebody is better than they truly are. You're not being a nice guy, you're not being a feminist ally by pretending like every single woman on the planet is amazing, that they can do no wrong. Women are regular, flawed human beings just like men are, and they need to be seen and treated as such. So stop putting women on a pedestal. So this guy wrote to me, he's only 20 years old, which is really young, and he had already been in a toxic, abusive relationship with a narcissistic woman. So young to have already had that experience, and he's trying to get out there in the dating market, but he's having some struggles. He asked me for some advice. kind of getting into some arguments with the women he was dating about how they were dressing, what they posted on Instagram, stuff like that. It's an interesting story. I've got a copy and paste of the message he sent me as the pinned comment below. If you want to hear my response to him, my advice, go and check out my Patreon. My Patreon's just $5 a month. You get instant access to a whole bunch of exclusive content. It's a great way to support the channel. Check out all the amazing topics you get. Patreon. Go see me over there.